Hi everyone, we're back to continue the hunt for the best Cantonese food here in San Francisco Chinatown. In part 1, we covered some hidden gems and iconic spots from some of the best Chinese seafood to super authentic stir-fry noodles. But Chinatown is huge and we barely scratched the surface. So today we're hitting more hidden gems from wonton noodles to Chaoshan-style breakfast to regional Taishan clay pot specialties. 同觀眾 say hello. And in case you haven't seen part 1 yet, you should definitely go check it out because there are some absolute bangers in there. And if you guys like Bay Area food tours like this, please give me a thumbs up. This would really help the channel. And yeah, let's get chonk. So first off, we are here at Yin Du Wonton Noodle, and this place is allegedly the best wonton noodle soup here in Chinatown. This place is a true hole-in-the-wall institution that's been around for at least a decade. And this place is really tiny and just packed with people, so it's very likely you'll have to share a table with strangers, but that just really adds to the authentic Hong Kong vibe. And you know, it's hella legit when there's just a long line of locals just waiting to get in here for a meal. Today we're getting their signature beef stew wonton noodle soup, Wonton Noodle. You can actually see the kitchen staff making everything fresh right in the open kitchen. Pretty cool. So right here we have the Wonton Noodle. You can see the beautiful braised beef brisket on top, those plump wontons, and the noodles just swimming in this clear-ish broth. I'm going to start with the beef brisket. Oh wow. The beef here is really incredible. It's almost kind of like melt in your mouth and fall off the bone. You can actually tell when you're just lifting it. It's really, really buttery in your mouth, and I just love how it's braised perfectly such that every single bite is just so tender. And what's really cool is that it's actually a mix of brisket and tendon, which I love because you're getting a bunch of these different textures. Flavor-wise, you can definitely taste that signature 5-spice marinade throughout. Now let's try the wonton. Dang, that's really, really solid, and I just love how it's packed to the brim when it comes to filling. You're really getting a ton of pork and shrimp in there, and most importantly, the skin. It's thin and delicate. What I love about it is definitely the flavors. It's just so well seasoned. You can really taste the fat and the white pepper in there. This is me being super nitpicky, but this wonton would be perfect if there's a better snap to it. Right now, it's a little bit softer than what I would typically expect from the Hong Kong type of wontons I'm used to, but it's a very, very, very marginal difference, and it's still pretty damn good. Now I'm gonna try the noodles. I would say the noodles here are definitely on the overcooked or softer side. They're not as dana or springy and bouncy as the ones that I would typically expect from finer wonton soup noodle shops in Hong Kong or Vancouver. Again, kind of similar to the wontons, I want them to be a bit more snappy in texture, but I can appreciate how you can still taste the eggy flavor in there. The noodles here do a good job of soaking up all the broth. Now, broth-wise, it's pretty clean tasting, but still super flavorful. You can just tell that this broth has been used to stew countless batches of beef brisket because it has this rich, concentrated flavor in there. It's light, but with that. I also love how as you're eating it, there's this braising sauce from the beef that's just mixed into the noodles, which infuses it with more flavor. The highlight of this entire bowl is definitely the protein. I think they do it really, really well here. The noodles, they could use a bit of refinement for sure, but I think for the price point, this bowl right here is honestly pretty good value, and it's just really, really hearty and comforting. It's decent. So right now we're here at Samgay Mass Dimsum and Cafe, and this place is really well known within the community for their Taishan style clay pot rice. So what makes this place really unique is definitely the fact that they are using fire to heat up the clay pots. This is actually something that's pretty rare to find in Hong Kong these days because of the space issue and permit issues, but using real fire to bake and heat up these pots definitely make a difference when it comes to the flavor and the taste. The place is tiny, and these clay pots take time to cook properly, so the wait can be kind of long during prime time, and you might have to share tables with other people, but trust me, it's all gonna be worth it. Today we're gonna try their lap mei bao zai fan, Chinese bacon in rice pot, and dong gu gai bao zai fan, mushroom and chicken clay pot. So right here we have the Chinese bacon and sausage clay pot rice. You can hear a slight sizzle. As you can see, on top it's layered with different cuts of Chinese sausage and cured meats, and underneath is the rice, which is the true star of the show. Now the key with clay pot rice is to mix it up right away if you want to enjoy the crispy edges without the burn, but if you like it to be a little bit more crispy, you can always just wait for a bit. So each table also comes with sweet soy sauce on the side, and you definitely want to add some of that while you're mixing things up. fuck, the Chinese sausage here is incredible. It's nothing like what you would get from the supermarket. It tastes really traditional, just so rich in flavor, and it just has this perfect balance of savory and sweet. You can also taste the pork fat in there, and I'm also loving that hint of rice wine. It really elevates the overall profile. And the bacon in here is also so good, super smoky and savory with that perfect chew. I think the highlight for me from this bowl is definitely all the umami flavors you're getting from the cured meats. When you're mixing it with the clay pot rice, all that saltiness and savoriness is just seeped into the rice. So every grain is just packed with flavor, and that animal fat in there really adds a lot of depth. And of course, that table soy sauce also adds a touch of sweetness that makes each bite super addictive. This is a really good bo dai fan. And now we're gonna try the mushroom and chicken. Just look at the chunks of protein on here. As usual, we're gonna give it a mix and put some soy sauce on there. Oh wow, when I first bit into this chicken, I actually almost thought it was the mushroom itself because it was just so juicy and tender. But tender in a way that it still has like a bounce to it. The marinade here is quite light, but you can still taste the savoriness in there. What makes this version a little different than the one that we just tried is definitely the earthy flavors you're getting from the mushroom and the chicken. It's just a lot heartier. The mushroom in here really adds this earthy umami depth, and it just pairs so well with that sweet soy sauce. I'm also loving how bouncy and chewy the mushroom is. It's really meaty in the best way possible. Okay, and now for the true star of the show and the moment you've all been waiting for, the crispy rice at the bottom, also known as woba. Gonna scrape the sides of the pot to get all those crunchy bits. Oh yeah, this is just absolute perfection. So crunchy and slightly oily, but in the best way possible. What I love is that it definitely has enough fo hei. So when it comes to wok dishes, we call it wok hei, aka that smoky char you're getting. But when it comes to fo hei, aka fire essence, it means the dish has been baked in really, really high heat, and that's how you're getting some of that caramelization. So kind of similar to wok hei, but in the baking sense. And in this scenario, you're definitely getting that caramelized rice, which is so flavorful. This is truly the star of the show, and is what makes clay pot rice so special, because essentially you're getting different kinds of textures and layers all in one dish and in one sitting. The tender rice on the top, the flavorful toppings, and then this crispy, crunchy layer at the very bottom, soaking up all that meat juice. It's really a dish that keeps giving, and it's just comfort food at the highest level. This place is good, really homey. So right now we're here at my favorite bakery, Garden Bakery, and you know you're at the right spot when you see a bunch of gong gong po po just like chatting away. This place is a pretty small cash-only bakery and has been a mom-and-pop institution for over 40 years. They're really well known for their mooncakes, but they also serve traditional Cantonese pastries daily. The reason why I love this place so much is because the vibes here. It's just so nostalgic. As you walk right in, you're greeted by this gleaming glass case containing everything. There's also a bunch of beautiful Chinese paintings on the wall. It just feels like you've walked back in the 70s. So today we're gonna try two of their classics, lo po bang, the wife cake, and cookie danta, egg tart with shortbread crust. So right here we have the lo po bang, which is in my opinion the best item from this bakery. And also in general, I think this pastry deserves way more mainstream recognition. So for those who don't know, wife cake is essentially this golden pastry with delicate flaky layers on the outside, and the inside is filled with winter melon paste. And especially when it's served hot or warm, you get this really lovely, chewy, mochi-like texture as you're biting into it. This pastry is just super nostalgic to me because it's something that I would get after school every now and then back when I was growing up in Hong Kong. If you're getting this, I really recommend that you just take it home, put it in a microwave for a minute or two. It's just much better when you eat it hot, but since I'm not at home right now, I guess I'm just gonna raw dog it. Still pretty solid even at room temperature, but yeah, this is definitely way better when it's hot, but still pretty good. So what defines a really good lo po bang is definitely the crust. You want it to be really flaky. I definitely think the layers here, it could be thinner. It's definitely on the thicker side right now, but that said, it's still pretty buttery, pretty soft. The filling though is definitely what makes this place stand out. It's got this lovely winter melon texture that is nicely chewy, but even chewier and nicer when you heat it warm. Sorry, I really have to drill this home for y'all. What I also like is how you can taste the nuttiness in there. And if you know me, I really don't like sugary desserts. And this one right here is just the right amount of sweetness, and it's definitely coming from the winter melon. I also like that you can taste the subtle five spice in the background. It really adds some kind of warm depth to the overall pastry. Overall, this is close to the lo po bang I would get back in Hong Kong. I just wish the crust was thinner because right now it really is on the thick side. I still love it though because it really is hard to find a good place that does a decent one here in the States. It's really funny because I'm clearly the youngest person here in this cafe right now. So all the gong gong po po, they're just kind of chatting away with me, asking me where I'm from, whether or not I'm used to living in San Francisco, and also whether the pastries here match up to what I'm used to. 你想唔想 say hello 啊？
同邊個 say hello？
同觀眾 say hello。
哎呀！
That's the lady that runs this place, I believe. Now here we have the cookie dan ta. Just look at this beautiful yellow custard with cookie crust. I actually think the egg tart, it really is just as good as the lo po bang, or maybe the lo po bang is no longer as good as it once was. It's so important that the custard here is jiggly, it has juice, it's moist, and right here it's so rich and creamy, but not like so rich that it's like a creme brulee texture. It has that perfect jiggle you would want, and just that beautiful eggy, milky flavor, but not too milky. And also, I just love that it's not too sweet. It really is an ideal balance in there right now. Overall, the texture is just smooth, silky, jiggly, exactly how you want it to be. And then the shortbread crust, they do it so well here. It's so important that it's not dry because some places it just feels way too crumbly. This one right here is just perfectly flaky, good moisture. It holds together really well and it still has that nice buttery goodness. And even flavor-wise, it's on point. It's a little bit salty. Sometimes it could really feel just like bland, but this one right here is just everything about it. It's solid. Honestly, this is a pretty solid egg tart and the execution is just spot on. Definitely get this. By the way, I would love to introduce you guys to Save Cantonese, an international movement that sustains and celebrates Cantonese language and culture. Right here in the Bay Area specifically, they've been leading several grassroots campaigns to protect and promote language programs at universities like Berkeley and Stanford. They also work with other orgs to host Cantonese practice sessions and events. So if you would love to get involved as a volunteer or supporter, please check out the sign up form below. And thank you again to Save Cantonese for all the work that you do for our community. So right now we're here at Spicy Shrimp, another hole in the wall that's been around for at least a decade. And what's great is that just like the wonton place, this place is super packed with just locals. So this spot is primarily known for their Chaoshan style rice roll. They're completely made to order, and just as a heads up, they're only available before early afternoon, so make sure you come early. Now, I'm usually a purist when it comes to chongyFun. I'm just more used to having one protein at a time, but Chaoshan style traditionally comes with a mix of toppings. So today we're gonna go big. We're getting chongyFun with shrimp, barbecue pork, egg, and scallions. We're also gonna get their peidan sao yok zhup, century egg and pork congee with yao zha guai, Chinese donut on the side. So right here we have the chongyFun. So what makes Chaoshan style chongyFun different than the Cantonese dimsum style is that the sheets themselves are a lot thinner and more delicate. The Cantonese version has proteins rolled inside of the roll, whereas Chaoshan style is all about having proteins thrown on top so they are steamed along with the rice batter. That's essentially how they infuse flavor into the rolls themselves. Gonna pour some soy sauce and give it a go. These rice rolls are pretty good. I love how the texture, it's pretty smooth. I mean, just look at how thin and crinkly the wrapper is. It has a bit of that chew without being gummy, although I do think overall it could be even thinner, a little silkier, but that's just my personal preference. This is still pretty good. I think what I'm most impressed by is definitely the flavors in here. The shrimp in here makes it really savory, and it definitely adds this nice bouncy texture. That said, the shrimp itself actually comes in smaller pieces rather than whole prawns, but the flavor is still completely there. And then the tasio and the eggs actually adds this really lovely sweetness and creaminess to the entire roll, while the scallions makes it more aromatic. And then when it comes to the soy sauce, it's actually a lot thicker and more savory compared to your Cantonese sweet soy sauce. Personally, I think I'm just more used to the sweeter side, although this one is also really good. It still has that hint of sweetness. Overall, I'm still impressed that the rice rolls here are executed pretty well, pretty solid. And right here we have the 皮蛋瘦肉粥 century egg and pork congee. And I also ordered a side of 油炸鬼 to go with it. So for those who are a little less familiar with this dish, a really good traditional 皮蛋瘦肉粥 should be really thick and creamy. Like the rice should be completely broken down into this really silky consistency. The century egg meanwhile should add this rich umami depth and almost creamy texture, while the pork itself should be tender and shredded throughout. Lamb lay. It means it's so yummy that you're just licking your lips. Damn, this congee is so thick and flavorful, and it just has this really nice thick consistency that I'm looking for. Very, very creamy. They're also not skimping on the ingredients here. The century egg, it really adds this nice texture, infusing a lot of that umami complexity to the overall porridge. And then the pork here is also pretty tender. I'm also loving the hints of ginger in here. That's really so important because it adds this extremely aromatic quality that really lifts the whole congee. It helps cut through the richness. And of course, it would be so illegal if I did not pair it with 油炸鬼. And just so you can hear how crispy it is. Right here is perfectly fried, so crispy. It's crunchy on the outside with this light, airy interior that is not greasy at all, which is so important. And dipping this into congee is absolutely the move because you want all this crispy dough to soak up all the savory, rich congee. It's really all about that contrast between the crunchy exterior and that creamy porridge that is just in perfect harmony with one another. So good. So right now we're here at Lucky Creation, a Chinatown institution that's been around for 37 years, specializing in Buddhist vegetarian cuisine. It's run by a Chinese Buddhist couple from Hong Kong, and this place is also really popular among the community for their zai lo mei takeout, gluten combination takeout. And just from looking at the menu alone, it honestly takes me back to my childhood because my grandma was a Buddhist. And whenever it was her birthday, we would go to temple restaurants and eat dishes just like this. Today we're trying their zai lo mei ping pun, gluten combination platter, 红燒茄子煲, raised eggplant and bean sauce, and their deep-fried tower fish. So right here we have their signature zai lo mei, and it comes with 5 different flavor profiles: soy sauce, sweet and sour, curry, beef jerky, and tasio. This dish right here is what most people come here for, and it's definitely what makes this place really special because they actually make their own seitan in-house from scratch. I'm gonna try the plain version first. Bruh, this is exactly the kind of zai I would have back in Hong Kong, like literally. The texture, it's so chewy, so spongy. It's just such a fun experience eating it. It literally just soaks up all the sauces. Growing up, the plain version is definitely the most common one, and I really like it because it really lets you taste the wheat gluten itself, but it's still flavorful with that subtle soy sauce seasoning that is a bit savory, a little bit sweet. For those who have never had this before, it definitely has like a meaty bite to it. Maybe the best way to describe it is that it's most similar to like tofu skin, but chewier. Now I'm gonna try the sweet and sour flavor. Not necessarily my favorite because I'm just more of a purist when it comes to these things. This one, it has a classic Cantonese sweet and sour profile. It's tangy and it has that caramelized sweetness, but it leans sweet, and you guys know how I feel about sweet things. Now I'm gonna try the curry. This one might be my favorite so far. It's still pretty similar in flavor compared to the plain one, but slightly elevated with those spices. It's really aromatic. And what I love about it is that as you're chewing on it, you're definitely getting more of those curry flavors. It just keeps giving very beautiful aftertaste that makes you feel a little bit warm with all that spice. It's not spicy though, more just like the flavorful kind of spice. And now I'm gonna try the beef jerky. The texture, it really does feel like you're eating beef. It's definitely denser, a little bit more chewier. In terms of flavor, it definitely leans on the sweet side, pretty sweet. What's balancing out the sweetness is definitely the peppery finish in there. The spice you're getting from the peppers definitely helps cut through that sweet, sweet sauce. And now I'm gonna try the tasio abalone. Because it's marinated in that tasio sauce, it's definitely on the sweet side again. I do wish the savory flavor came through a little bit more. That said, I do appreciate the texture. It's really bouncy, very chewy. Kind of reminds me of the beef jerky that we just had. But I think overall, out of all the 5 flavors we've tried, my favorite would be the plain and the curry. I would definitely come back for those. Now here we have the congee, braised eggplant in bean sauce served in a clay pot. Just look at how glossy and beautiful this whole dish is. There's some mushrooms, some cabbage and tofu in there, and of course, lots of eggplant. Wow, the eggplant here is cooked perfectly. It's so silky and tender, it just literally falls apart. And then the sauce, I really think that's the highlight. Like, it's so deeply flavorful. A lot of times when you get congee tofu outside or even in Hong Kong, it could feel a tad bit bland at some certain places. But this one right here, oh my god, it's just deeply savory with a striking umami flavor from the fermented black beans. You can taste the garlic throughout, and then the sauce has this beautiful viscosity that just coats everything. And now I'm gonna try the tofu and the cabbage. I almost died. The bean curd, it's nicely tender and marinated with a little bit of that chew. The bean curd, it's lightly tender with a little bit of that chew. But that cabbage is just perfectly blanched and it has this beautiful, subtle sweetness to it. It just feels really, really fresh. This dish is just incredibly earthy, flavorful, thick, rich, so good. The eggplant here has completely absorbed all those flavors, almost like a sponge soaking up all that complex sauce. This is exactly what a good congee should be like, and this place absolutely nails it. And finally, here we have the lao xin ban, deep fried taro fish. They shape mashed taro into this 7-inch fish, then deep fry it in tempura batter. It's also served with the sweet and sour sauce on the side. Honestly, I think it's so cute that they made this into a fish shape. And what's cool is that they also cut it up for you just like they would at a banquet. I'm gonna drench some of that sweet and sour sauce on top. Taro is really sticky, so it's really hard for me to talk right now.
A few moments later.
All I want to say is that coating is so crispy. I'm seriously just so impressed by how thin and crispy and airy the batter is. And then when you bite into it, you're getting this soft mashed taro center. The taro itself, I would say it's pretty sticky. It's definitely on the gluier side. That said, it's super, super creamy and starchy with this subtle savory sweetness to it. If you eat this plain on its own, there's a bit of that nutty flavor into it, but I would recommend that you best pair it with the sweet and sour sauce because that sauce is actually pretty amazing. I can just tell from the consistency of the sauce alone that they are homemade because it's on the thinner side. You're not getting that super corn syrupy texture. Flavor-wise, it's not overly sweet at all. It's super tangy, really, really bright, and you can actually see some carrot slices in there. Overall, that pickled sauce really helps balance out the richness that you're getting from the fried batter, but also that really, really creamy taro paste. I think overall what's really clever about this restaurant as well as the dishes that they serve is that they really try to recreate that traditional dining experience of serving things family style. Even as vegetarians, you're still getting that celebratory moment of having that whole fish just presented and then cut up and served to you. And that's definitely what makes Lucky Creation really special. They're not just making good tasting vegetarian food, but also preserving the cultural experience of Chinese dining. So right now we're here at Taishan Taishan cuisine, and I have a slight confession to make here. I've actually never tried Taishan cuisine in my life. This is my very first time and on camera. So Taishan, also known as Taishan, is the region in Guangdong province where many of the earliest Chinese immigrants to California were from. They came here during the gold rush back in the 1850s, and these were the people who built up SF's Chinatown. So in that sense, Taishan food really should be Chinatown's mother cuisine, but for whatever reason today, only a handful of restaurants serve dishes from this region. So this restaurant opened back in 2020, and it just has this timeless feel. There's all these wooden tables, handwritten specials, these beautiful vintage 60s style posters highlighting specific dishes. And as I'm going through the posters, I actually noticed some really famous Hong Kong celebrities, including Choi Lan, aka Hong Kong's version of Anthony Bourdain, and Jackson Wang, this dude who is really famous for being very, very hot and 靚仔. Today we're trying 3 of their signatures: Taishan燒雞, Taishan roasted chicken, Taishan豬肚雞湯, Taishan pork tripe with chicken soup, and their yellow eel clay pot rice, Taishan Paowell St煲仔飯. The menu here is pretty extensive, but the key is to stick to the house specials and anything with Taishan name in it. That's what they really specialize in. So first up, here we have the 胡椒豬肚雞湯, pork tripe chicken soup. Just look at this beautiful milky white broth with chunks of pork tripe and chicken floating in there. Oh wow, the soup here, the level of salt and pepper, it's literally just perfect. It's like you can immediately feel the warmth and the spice just kind of coating your throat. I'm just loving that peppery intensity, and you're also getting a little bit of that medicinal quality in there. It's super herby. That broth really has this lingering spice flavor that I'm really, really enjoying. So the soup itself is quite rich and creamy looking, but it's actually quite light. You can just taste the chicken essence throughout, and what's most impressive is definitely the beautiful interplay between the white pepper heat and that natural sweetness you're getting from the chicken and the tripe. And the proteins in here are also cooked perfectly. That pork tripe, it really does an amazing job of infusing that slightly funky flavor, but in like the best way to the soup. That's how you're getting some of that fatty flavor in there. The pork tripe texture is perfectly tender with that characteristic honeycomb, slightly chewy but not rubbery at all. It's cooked until it's pretty soft, and it just does an amazing job of absorbing all that beautiful peppery broth. The chicken pieces in here are also fall off the bone tender, and there's definitely this natural sweetness to it that's really, really nice. Overall, everything in here just feels incredibly balanced, really restrained in the best way, and it just feels so comforting and hearty. Really, really good soup. And here we have the Taishan Siu Gai, and it honestly looks just so impressive from the get-go. They bring out this whole foil-wrapped bird. It looks so glossy and beautiful. And what's really cool is they break it down right at your table. Our server is just literally hand shredding this chicken limb from limb with gloved hands until we're left with this tidy pile of meat and bones. Just look at that golden brown skin. Wow, 超正. The chicken, it just doesn't need any sauce at all because it's already been pre-marinated so well. First of all, it's just so juicy, so flavorful. You can definitely taste that it's been roasted and marinated in that beautiful, rich, sweet, savory marinade. It's definitely soy sauce in there. The meat itself is also incredibly tender. The flavor, it's just so fatty, so umami, but without feeling overly salty, because sometimes with roasted chicken, it could be just like too marinated, you know what I mean? Overall, the chicken itself is also just so high quality. The flavors are insane. And because the skin is also a bit gelatinous, you're getting those beautiful, fatty, juicy flavors. This whole chicken is really such a treat. It's so succulent, juicy, meaty, flavorful in the best way possible. Like each bite is just packed with flavor and juice, and this is exactly how every roasted chicken should be. So damn good. And finally, here we have the yellow eel clay pot rice, 黃鱔煲仔飯. This is definitely the biggest splurge on the menu at $48. But look at the size. I mean, you can definitely feed 4 to 6 people with that amount. So when the server lifted the lid, oh my god, that fragrance is just like, It looks like there isn't much seasoning in here, just soy sauce mixed with rendered eel. And the eel itself is also shredded into small chunks throughout. 呢個都係勁正。
我同你講啦。
My friend just said, I told you so. I mean, It's really good. 真係好香 super fragrant. First of all, I'm definitely loving the eel fat. It's really coating each grain of that rice and it's infusing so much fatty, umami, smoky flavors to the entire thing. The eel itself, not only is it smoky, it also has this delicate, savory, sweet flavor to it. It's mild like catfish, but a bit more refined. It just has this tender, silky texture that's also a little bit crispy that just melts. And for some people, this rice might be a bit on the milder side when it comes to the flavoring, but I actually prefer this because that way I can really taste the quality, the flavors of the eel here. It's more subtle, it's a bit elegant. It's not supposed to be like punch you in the face. I'm just enjoying the cleaner, more simple flavors that you're getting from the eel fat, from the coriander, from the spices, a bit of that soy sauce. Everything just feels like it's in harmony here and it's really gentle overall in flavoring while still feeling super flavorful. And now for the absolute best part, the bottom of the clay pot for that crispy rice crust. Just from the looks of it, it's definitely not as congealed as I thought it would be, but that's fine. The woba in here, aka the crispy bottom, it's toasty, it's a bit crunchy, just so glorious. What I really love is those caramelized bits you're getting from that soy sauce, from the rice, and then of course with the eel fat, that's how you form that golden crust at the bottom. It just has this amazing nutty, smoky, caramelized flavor from getting pressed with the hot clay pot. Just the contrast you're getting between that slightly crispy, crackling bottom and the tender, fluffy rice on top. That is what makes clay pot so special. Overall, this whole thing is just so fragrant, so flavorful. It just has so much complexity, textures, and depth to it, all in one pot. Just as you think this meal couldn't get any better, I think this is actually my highlight so far. So this pretty much wraps up part 2 of our Cantonese food tour here in SF Chinatown. Should I do a part 3? Let me know down in the comments which spots you'd like to see next. And before we get into the top 3, I want to show you guys some Chinatown merch I made inspired by these food tours. Everything is hand-drawn by me, so if you want to support the channel and rep Chinatown at the same time, I would really appreciate you guys checking it out. Alright, in terms of my top 3 for today, number 1 is Taishan cuisine. Everything there just feels homey, yet incredibly well executed. The soup was deeply flavorful, that chicken was so juicy, and that eel clay pot rice was fragrant as hell. The rice had that perfect crispy bottom layer and every component was just cooked with so much care. Honestly, it doesn't get any better than this. Number 2 is Ma's Dimsum for their clay pot rice. It's getting harder and harder to find clay pot rice made over real fire these days, and here you can actually taste the difference. That smoky char on the rice, it's exactly what you want. Number 3 is Lucky Creation for their plain and curry gluten and eggplant clay pot. The textures were spot on. That bounce from the gluten, the silky eggplant, every dish there had a good depth of flavor, especially the eggplant dish. Super umami rich, really well seasoned, and this is coming from someone who loves their meat. And yeah, let me know down in the comments which cities or neighborhoods you would love for me to cover next. I would love to get your recommendations as someone that is still exploring much of the Bay Area. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more food tours like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!
A few moments later.
Hi!
I just want to say hi.
Hi!
Follow you.
Oh my god, thank you so much! Hi!
Because if you